Everything was going perfectly. For the American F-22 Raptor, this exercise was supposed to be easy. It's the most advanced stealth fighter in the world. Its radar can see everything, but nothing can see it. The plan was simple: detect the enemy from far away and take them out before they even know they're in a fight. From the control room, it looked like a textbook mission. The F-22 was invincible. Then, a calm voice came over the radio and changed everything. Visual contact Magi Minent. The controllers froze. That wasn't supposed to happen! A merge means a close-range dogfight. It means the enemy is right next to you, close enough to see with your own eyes. Somewhere out there, a British jet had slipped through. It wasn't a stealth fighter. It was an older Eurofighter Typhoon. It hadn't broken any rules. It hadn't used magic. It just arrived at a place where no one expected it to be. How did a non-stealth jet get so close to America's best fighter? What mistake did the F-22 pilot make? And why did this one moment change the way NATO thinks about air combat? Welcome to Hidden Valar. Today, we tell the story of the day the impossible happened. To understand this surprise, you have to understand the mindset of the two sides. For the US Air Force, the F-22 Raptor is all about control. American pilots are trained to trust their technology. They expect to see the enemy first and shoot first. They believe that if they do their job right, the fight will never get close. It's not arrogance. It's confidence in their machine. The British pilots understood this perfectly. They knew they couldn't beat the Raptor's stealth head-on. If they tried to use their own radar to find the F-22, the Raptor would see their signal like a flashlight in a dark room and destroy them instantly. So, the British came up with a different plan. Before the flight, their briefing was quiet and serious. There was no talk of being heroes. The goal was simple: discipline. The Typhoon pilot knew he was the underdog. He knew the F-22 would probably see him first, but that didn't mean he had lost. His plan was to be boring. He didn't turn on his powerful radar. He didn't talk on the radio. He didn't fly fast or make sudden turns. He just drifted. The airspace was crowded. There were many other planes, friendly and enemy, filling the sky with signals. The British pilot used this noise as cover. He became just another background signal, something that didn't look dangerous. He wasn't trying to be invisible. He was trying to be unimportant. Inside the F-22 cockpit, the American pilot was doing exactly what he was trained to do. His radar was scanning miles ahead, looking for threats. The computer was filtering out the noise to show him the most dangerous targets. The computer decided that the slow, quiet Typhoon wasn't a priority. It pushed the British jet to the bottom of the list. This was the mistake. While the F-22 pilot was focused on other things, the Typhoon was slowly, patiently closing the distance. The British pilot was very careful. He knew that if he flew too fast or turned too sharply, he would grab the F-22's attention. So, he waited. He used patience as a weapon. The distance between them was shrinking, not because the Typhoon was sprinting, but because the fight itself was moving toward him. It was a game of patience. Inside the British cockpit, the pilot watched the range count down. He knew this window of opportunity wouldn't last long. He had to time his move perfectly. By the time he finally decided to exciting power and turning toward the Raptor, he was already much closer than anyone expected. The F-22's computer finally realized something was wrong. It wasn't an alarm that went off. It was just a realization that the timing was off. The enemy wasn't miles away. He was right there. The call went out, merged likely. For an F-22 pilot, that word is a failure. The Raptor is built to avoid the merge. Once you are close enough to see each other, stealth doesn't matter anymore. It becomes an old-fashioned knife fight. The moment happened fast. The two jets converged, crossing paths in a blur of gray metal. For a split second, both pilots saw each other clearly through their canopies. Then, they were gone, pulling hard into tight turns, trying to get behind the other. This wasn't just a cool moment. It was a shock. The Typhoon hadn't defeated the F-22's stealth. It hadn't tricked its sensors. It had simply arrived at a place that wasn't supposed to exist. The exercise controllers paused the fight. They needed to understand what had just happened. Inside his cockpit, The F-22 pilot quickly woke up to the new reality. He wasn't helpless. The Raptor is an incredibly agile and powerful fighter, but the advantage he usually had, the element of surprise, was gone. The British pilot didn't get greedy. He didn't try to do anything crazy. He just kept flying smoothly, managing his energy, not trying to win the fight right there, but just trying to stay in it. The two jets spiraled upwards, trading positions in the sky. The F-22 used its massive power to climb straight up. The Typhoon followed, but at an angle, refusing to make it easy for the American. It was a tense dance. For a few minutes, neither side had the advantage. The controllers eventually called knock it off and reset the exercise. No weapons were fired. No one won. But the point had been made. The F-22 hadn't been beaten in a fight. It had been drawn into a fight it never expected to happen. The real impact of this moment didn't happen in the air. It happened later, on the ground, in a quiet briefing room. The pilots and planners gathered to analyze the data. They replayed the radar tapes. The merge was there on the screen, impossible to ignore. An American officer pointed to the Typhoon's track. "This is where we should have seen him as a threat," he said. "But we didn't." The British pilot explained his strategy calmly. No bragging. He just talked about geometry, timing, and restraint. He explained why he kept his radar off and why he waited so long to speed up. There was no secret trick. That's what was so unsettling for the Americans. The F-22 pilot spoke next. He was professional. He admitted that his system had detected the Typhoon, but it was later than he would have liked. He said, "This wasn't a failure. It was a boundary we hadn't tested hard enough." Everyone in the room nodded. Exercises aren't about showing off. They are about finding weaknesses before a real enemy does. As they talked, the focus shifted from the jets to the humans. They realized that in a crowded sky, their brains and their computers naturally filter out things that don't look scary. The British pilot hadn't forced a mistake. He had waited for one. By the end of the meeting, the tone had changed. The Americans realized they couldn't just assume that stealth would always keep them safe at long range. For the British, this wasn't a victory lap.